Greetings and welcome back to Sixth Face Comics. Sorry about the skip right into the video. Our intro guy is on strike. Management's been talking to him, and our outro guy left 2 episodes back, so we're working on it. We're getting with the union. We'll get something worked out. I was challenged to do a top 10 video by Taylor Winder, so I am going to go ahead and show you guys what I pulled out. First off, I think I'll start with the runner-up. Now, these books I just love. I have a few of these. This is Howard the Duck #1. This is the first Gwenpool. Shock and awe. I'm a Gwenpool fan. So I bought not one, not 2, but 3 of these. And all of those I bought for an investment a while back, a couple years ago. They were selling for about $200 a piece. They're back down. I guess the average is about $100 a piece. So total, they're not that much. But, or total, they're worth something. But individually, they're not. They don't make the list. In fact, I was quite surprised because this doesn't make the list either, which is the McLeod 1 in 25 for Howard the Duck #1. Why am I putting it in a bag? So this is the first appearance of Gwenpool 1 in 25. They came out with it. I actually kind of like this cover. Now this cover you can pick up for under $100 now. I think these are sleepers, guys. These covers that people are like, man, it's not my favorite cover of that character. Some of them are going for well under what they should. I mean, the first appearance of Gwenpool, very popular character, for less than $100 in a 1 in 25. There ain't many of those on the census either. And then, I'm sorry I didn't look up the price of this one, but I don't think it's that high right now. But this is the second print variant. Let's see what it says on the back. It says a half-page ad for the totally awesome Hulk. It's the Gwenpool story, Miss Pool, If You Were Nasty, Part 1. I really like it. This is signed and remarked by Christopher Hastings, who did this drawing. This is the Hastings. So this in color is a 1 in 35 that came out with Howard the Duck #1, which I have in a raw copy, which it's in my pile that needs to be sent to CGC. I don't know, it's probably not going to come back, but a 9. God, I hope. It's got a tiny little nick in the corner on it up here. Who knows what it's going to be. But this I picked up for very cheap too, so I think I paid like $100 for this. Signed and remarked, like 100, 150. One of my favorite characters. I love Gwenpool. I don't think she's going to come to the MCU anytime soon, but she's a good character. There you go. There's my runner-up, Howard the Duck #1, which I have a bunch of copies of, as you can see. Those Howard the Duck ones, I've been sitting on them for a while till she got popular. I gave one of them to my best friend from high school and for his birthday one year, because he doesn't do much comic books, but he loves Gwenpool. So when I bought him, I was like, dude, I found these for cheap. I'm going to send you one for your birthday if you want it. And like, if you're not going to want this comic, you're going to try to sell it, and I'll just give you the money or something. And he said, no, send me the comic. So hopefully he's got that on a wall. All right, so here, this is the first of my books. So this is number 10 in my top 10. This is the first appearance of Jesse Custer, the Preacher. Now, this book had its heyday when the TV series was running, and I loved the TV series. I think it got canned too soon, but I still love the character, and I think this book is in a big lull right now, and you can pick these books up for cheap. This is something. I don't know what DC will ever do with the Preacher, franchise, but it had a pretty good run. If you haven't seen the TV series, I recommend picking it up and watching it in rewinds. So, first appearance of Jesse Custer. My DC books. My second DC book. Only other one I have that matches. It's a first appearance in a slab. This is my top 10 first appearances in slabs. Is Swamp Thing number 37. This is the first appearance of Constantine. So I have this in a 9.4. I have Swamp Thing number 25 is considered a cameo of Constantine. It's not really. The artists and the writers have all said it isn't, but in Swamp Thing 25 there is a magician on one page with blonde hair. Looks an awfully lot like John Constantine, who is doing magic tricks. So everybody is pretty much leaned on it as being the first cameo. So I have 25 and a 9.8. I was only able to secure this in a 9.4 before these went through the roof. And I'm happy with it. All the damage is right along the back, so it presents amazingly well from the front. Like if I showed you the back along the spine, you can see it's got some pretty gnarly tick right in the middle, and then there's some stuff across the top. But the front, man, the front of this thing is gorgeous. So, you know, if you're doing presentation, who doesn't want a 9.4 that they were like, oh, I don't know why it's not a 9.8 until you flip it over, right? So, that, I think the Jesse Custer, the Preachers, I'll put the fair market values up. I believe it's somewhere around 300. And this one is around 400 for this 9.4. I think I got it for a good price when it was in a lull. So you see prices coming down right now, guys. Pick up stuff not on the top 10s, but stuff that's been just festering. Like word hasn't come out in a long time about, you know, this is going to hit a TV series or something, or it's just a popular character that people like that nobody's doing anything with, right? Those are what you want to be looking for right now. And you can pick some of that stuff up, and if you're flipping, you can make some money. Otherwise, if you're a collector and you're just collecting, then you can get some good stuff for cheap right now. So, that being said, I am going to introduce you to Lady Deadpool. This is Deadpool Merc with the Mouth, number 7. This is a good series. This is one of the defining series for Deadpool. In the early, let's say, I think 2010 or something like that. It'll be on the screen here. This was produced, let's see, is it over here? Yeah, 2010. So this is the first appearance of Lady Deadpool. This is the third printing of this. This book is super hard to find, okay? There's a fair market value right now of about $460 or $450, $475. And there's only like, I want to say 66 of these on the CDC census at all. For a book that's run at $500 to only have a representation of 66 books on the census, you should know this is one of the most rare Deadpool books on the market. And happens to be Lady Deadpool's first appearance, which they haven't done anything with since Mrs. Deadpool and X. It's kind of a weird series. I need to go back and read. All right. Well, let's get on to my only indie book my first indie book in this series. Fantasy Quarterly number 1. So this is the first appearance of ElfQuest, which I don't know how many of you out there were big fans, but in the 80s I was a child and ElfQuest was one of my favorite books. Now, I had never seen this book until I walked into a store in New England one day with a ton of trade. And the guy had this on the wall. It had just come in. He said he hadn't had a chance to grade it. I told him to pull it down, and I priced it before I even showed him the books I was going to trade, guys. Before I showed him the books I was going to trade, I made sure this book was priced, because this book was coming home with me regardless. So I negotiated a price for this, and then we moved on to other business. So when we set this aside, you know, you see how things go. You learn to bundle stuff, and if I had tried to get this later and bundle it in at the end, he probably would have tried to jack the price up. But he gave me this for a steal, so it was $200. The only problem with it, you can't even really see through the case anymore. There's a little dip. It's easier to see in the back. Right there. That corner is funky. Just that one little thing. That's the difference between a 9.4 and a 9.8, because there is nothing else wrong with this. It is a gorgeous copy. I'm glad I got it. Like $4.75 is the fair market value for this book right now. And I think there were very few on the census. I'll put up how many are even on the census, because this book is a ghost. You know, 1978. It was a child's book. This was Fantasy Quarterly. Look at this paper quality; is terrible. To find these is just impossible. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4. That says number 6. So we're going to get down to number 7. So, or number 5. Number 5. I don't know where to go with these, so I'm going to go in the monetary-ish range, and I'll pull this down. You guys see this one up on me. Now, I'm not sure what the value of this is, because it's a unique. It's the only 9.9 at cover F that I am aware of in existence. There's none on the C. This is the only one. I can guarantee you that. And since there's only the one, it's just my sales data. Now, at the time I bought this, the Department of Truth number 198s and the CGC were running about $800. So this guy had this up for $1,000. I talked him down to, I think it was like $850, $825 or something like that. It's like $950 I paid, shipped. Now the CGC sense, or if you look up values, the fair market value on Go Collect for a 9.8 of this is $475, which is why it's where it's at. I think this has not got any love yet. It's very new still, you know, and it's only been optioned. We haven't heard anything about it in a while. This is one of those books I think has the potential to take off. Now, be careful with the Department of Truth. There were like 41 covers. A lot of them were produced after the fact, you know, when after release date. Some of them were not. But they ended up making a lot of, you know, very limited edition covers, and I just gave up trying to get them. I did pull this. I bought this one. I do have a CGC 9.8 of this that I just got back from CGC. Thanks to Russ and Mill Geek Comics for submitting for me. When I got the 9.8 back, I got this. So when I got this for every 25 or so, I figured at the time the fair market value for this book in a 9.8 and a CGC was about the same. So I just, you know, I could sell the other one and keep this one. But I have them both still. The market keeps dropping on this one, and I just don't see any reason to sell it right now. The last sold in a 9.8 CGC was $510. That's really low. So if you're looking to pick up a Department of Truth key, this is it, man. This is the 1 in 100 for the original cover. And I don't think there would be another definitive gotta have other than this. And like I said, prices are cheap right now. Might as well enjoy them. So that's my number 5. And I want to say, if we'll just give it the $8.50 value that I paid. That's not even the taxes or the shipping I paid on it as the fair market value for that, because there's no other copies. But you're not getting it from me unless you cough up $2,000. Then we might talk. So if you want to leave a comment and say, I got $2,000, I want that book, then we can negotiate. All right, guys. So we're gonna move on. I think my next couple are going to be Marvel. You know, a lot of Marvel stuff. Everybody loves Marvel. I love Marvel. Marvel was the bread and butter. I remember reading this book when I was a kid. I got into collecting comics shortly after these books came out. So in that spring, this was in February, March. So late in the spring, after issue 100 came out, I really got into comic collecting. This I found at a shop already graded before Deadpool 3 was announced. And after Deadpool 3 was announced, I ended up getting back to the shop, and it was still sitting there, and he hadn't updated the price, so I picked it up for like $700 cash. A 9.6 in a newsstand. Fair market value is, it's just shy of $1,000 now. So that's why I say these two top 10s. This is number 4. It's number 5, but barely. And I do love this thing. I had several copies. I had some raws. I had a raw newsstand that I sold after I picked that up at auction and my Instagram auctions. This was, and I figured I'd show you the other. So this I submitted myself. Well, I had submitted through Mill Geek Comic Shed today. So this is my first runs, and it's exactly what I thought it would be. It's a 9.0. It's got some little stuff on the side there. It's only like $4.50, $4.75 or something. And eventually, this will get up for sale. But I figured I'd show the direct along with the newsstand. I would like to have a Mark Jewelers, but I slept on a Mark Jewelers. There was a 9.4 that was available 2 summers back, right before everything heated up when Deadpool was in a lull. Somebody had the 9.4 for like $900, and I almost bought it. But I was looking for a House of Secrets 92 at the time, and if you don't know what that is, that's the first Swamp Thing. And I had been talking with someone, so I didn't have the cash available for the Mark Jewelers, but the other one fell through, and that was gone, so I really wish I had just bought that one. But that's how it goes, you know? Say love you is life. All right. So number 5, number 4 is my Something is Killing the Children number 1. I had this submitted. This used to sit, if you watch my old videos, raw in the back behind me. And I submitted it last year, at the end of last year. It's one of those that took like 9 months to come through. And I was super happy I got it in a 9.8. I mean, come on guys, this is beautiful. And I'm not sure. This one I think has come down, so this one might be before. The last two were probably worth, or the last one's probably worth more than this one right now. But it's a 9.8. Something is Killing the Children. And how can you go wrong with a 9.8? Something is Killing the Children. Number 1. Now, here's the part, guys. When Something is Killing the Children was first option, I heard about it on, I think it was Cosmic Wonder's stream. He was dropping stuff on like Friday morning, Thursday morning, and since I'm medically retired and I don't get out of bed for first half of the day usually due to back issues, I watched the video live, and I was like, well, I wonder if there's any Something is Killing the Children on eBay. And I hopped over to eBay, and sure enough, there was a 1, 2, 4, and 5 all raw up in a lot together, and it had like $20 on it. So I bid on it, and I think I won it for like $30 shipped. So 1, 2, 4, and 5. The 2, 4, and 5 all look just as good as that one, but that's the only one I've submitted so far. Yeah. So, you know, you win some, you lose some. Now, I've bought, you know, tons of books that I've resold for less than I paid for them, but occasionally you win some big ones. Speaking of winning some big ones, this is a big key now. This was nothing, man. I just got this back too, so this came back with the same Something is Killing the Children and Department of Truth issues that I got back. This is the Opino variant cover. This is the 1 in 50. And beautiful Opino variant that is, of course, an homage to The Breakfast Club. And it seems to be everybody's favorite cover. It's got everybody on it. It's the coolest pose. There's some store variants. I think I've got every variant of Strange Academy number 1. This is probably the most heavily collected book I had. This came out right when I was getting hot into books. Hot back into books, because I've been on and off books a lot of years. Since I was 12. But This one I drove hours to pick this up. Thanks to Newberry Comics. I was a Newberry subscriber at the time, and my Newberry, I would just go in and I'd ask if they had these books, you know, or if they could look in their system. At Newberry, they have access to inventory across their stores, so you can go into a store and say, hey, I want this variant. Do you guys have it? Is it in your system? And then you can drive to one of the other Newberries. So that's what I did with this. So I drove 2.5 hours to pick this up because there was only one left in the entire Newberry. It was about a week or 2 weeks after it had launched. Now, the reason I went and picked this up is Jim Mint Collectibles had mentioned it on his stream. At that time, he was doing his weekly review of comics, and that was his sleeper. So he was like, guys, this is a really good read. Read it. Pick it up, read it. So I went out, bought a copy, I read it, and then I went and bought every copy I could find. And that is where we're at with that one. So this is probably this is my biggest book in the collection now. I used to have something bigger, but it was sold, and I bought this in a conciliation. So this is Fantastic Four number 52. So this is the first appearance of Black Panther. So this is double signed, guys. This is signed by Stan Lee and Joe Sinnott. And you will note that Stan Lee signed this. Let's see, when did Stan Lee sign this? Stan Lee signed this on 4/7/2018. So this is when Stan Lee was getting sick. And you can tell he was kind of out of his sorts when he signed this book, because he signed right across Black Panther. So the gentleman I got this from had just got this back because he sent it in for Joe Sinnott, because he got it signed by Stan Lee. Stan signed across the Black Panther, and nobody wanted the book now. They thought it was ruined because, you know, it was. How could Stan do that? Maybe he was hating on Kirby that day. I don't know. That was after they'd already made up. But they sent it in to Joe Sinnott, and Joe Sinnott did this beautiful Black Panther remark in the moon and then signed. So now it's completely unique. Now it's something very interesting, right? The other book I sold that was big had been a Stan signature, so I wanted an old Stan signature, something that meant something, right? Something that Stan was involved with, like with the creation of Black Panther, the first black character in the MCU. This is proof that these guys at Marvel were pushing boundaries. So don't give me any crap about LGBTQ and all that garbage. Stan and the crew were fighting for people's rights from the very beginning, trying to give representation. You're the first black person in media, guys. As far as I know, this is the first real big black character in media. It's great. I love it. Glad I picked that one up. That one, again, you know, the Joe Sinnott remark makes it completely unique. Now that book's fair market value is like $1,300 unsigned. It's got a Stan signature and a Joe Sinnott remark. Yeah, it's realistically a $2,000 book. $2,200. And, you know, as the movie comes, that's going to go up. People are going to want it. So here's my last book. I'm not sure where this goes. So this top 10, you see, I've just gone in order. Which ones were more expensive towards the end. This one, I have there's just no data for. This is the only issue I know of that is on the CGC census. So, this is Ultimate Fallout. Number 4. First appearance of Miles Morales. Now, if you notice something very interesting, it says, Ma Pew, Spider-Man. So this is the Italian edition. So this was released in March of 2012 in Italy. And it was the first reprint of the Djevic variant. And I don't know how rare it is. I've only ever seen the one. The dealer I bought the book from, Second Alarm Comics. Shout out to Second Alarm. My friend Jim over there. This bad boy, I don't know. Don't know what it's worth. Could be $1,000, could be $2,000. I know the Djurjevic variant in this grade is a $5,000 book now. What do you guys think? My expectation for a 9.2 of this would be $1,000 to $1,500, but again, there's no data, and I don't know if there's any but this on the CD Census now. So let me know what you think about that, guys. So those are my first appearances in Slabs. I have a lot of other first appearances. I collect a lot of first appearances. I have put a collection together specifically for shows, to start doing shows. That was all pre-pandemic ideas from me, and pandemic has been not kind to this cancer patient. So people refusing to wear masks at conventions and stuff like that, and people just generally not caring, have kept me isolated in my house. I still haven't gotten COVID. My wife hasn't gotten it, and we don't plan on getting it. We're just try to be smart. Now, I'm as vaxxed and boosted and whatever as you can be, and I'm pretty young, and I'm fairly healthy right now. So I'm not terribly worried about dying from COVID if I got it, but I don't want to get it, and I don't know what it'll do with my cancer, right? I could relapse, my blood cancer could relapse from it. You know, any number of things could happen. I become a super carrier, right? There's a woman with my condition, or not my condition specifically, but another type of blood cancer who she was positive, tested positive for like 450 days, and apparently generated 3 different variants in her own body. Like, didn't get it from people, like they recombined, and she herself generated 3 separate variants. So yeah, I'll stay away from it. You guys don't want me being a super factory, right? So all right, guys, so that's it. That's my top 10. Let's go through one more time real quick. We got Jesse Custard. We got John Constantine. We got Lady Deadpool. We got the first Elf Quest. We have the first Department of Truth, which is the first everything from that world, especially the Lady in Red. The tape on the eyes, the Lady in Red. Who is she? What is she part of? And then I've got the new Mutants 98, so Deadpool's first appearance and Erica Slaughter's first appearance. Those are about the same value now. The first appearance of Emily Frost and a ton of other people. So, not Emily Frost, sorry. Emily Bright, Doyle, Dormammu, Shaylee, Moonpetal, Calvin Morse, Desi, Jermaine, Gulslog, Zoe, Alvi, Eric, and Toph. That's a ton of characters. So, this is the the Young Avengers of today, right? So, the Young Avengers series. Now, this series just ended, I think, with 18. Pretty good run. Where they go from here, who knows? This will probably come down some in value. I know some of the other books, or some of the other covers you can get pretty cheap. Who knows where it's going to go? So, Strange Academy, and then the Black Panther, and the Miles Morales. So, that rounds it out. So, these are my big boys. Some of these are personal collections. Some of these are sell eventually. I will start selling again. Check out. I'll probably be trying to get on Whatnot soon. And that's it, guys. Thanks for stopping by. Oh, don't forget to hit the notification bell, subscribe, and like this video. I forget I got to do that since the outro guy, he quit on me. Eventually, we'll get somebody in there, all right?